Hello, my name is Lady Anna von Arweiler, and I'll be your narrator today. Welcome to the Kingdom of Atenveldt Target Archery Marshal Training video. The purpose of archery line marshals. Safety is our first priority. Marshals should be focused, calm, and exercise good judgment on the line. First, let's get started. What do you need to do to become a marshal? Marshals in training will assist the running and safety of the archery line under the direction of a warranted marshal. To become a warranted marshal, you must do the following. Help set up and marshal under the marshal in charge of supervision. Do this a minimum of 5 archery practices or events. One of those 5 must be a major published event. When you are finished, complete and pass the range marshal authorization test. You must also be a paid member of the SCA to maintain your marshal warrant. Having a marshal on the line is required per Society Corpa for us to engage in archery activities. Okay, let's talk about setting up a range for the first time. Note that at an established range, some of these steps might not be necessary. If out in the open field that does not have a natural or man-made barriers to the range, make sure that the area is roped off and appropriate warnings are posted. The shooting lanes can be marked with flags or cones, including the shooting line. Mark a safety zone and make sure archers and spectators are aware of it. Sometimes there might be roads or hiking paths behind the range. Mark them as closed before shooting begins. Specific dimensions of the shooting area are in the Marshal's Handbook. Let's see what Her Excellency Caitlin says.
So setting up the range has a few things to think about. You need to think about the safety of the range. Having an established range is great, but you also still need to remember that there shouldn't be any roads behind, there shouldn't be any people walking behind, cars, traffic, horses, etc. You don't want to shoot anything that's downrange. The other things to think about is your neighbors. You want to make sure that you're far enough away from anybody else who's shooting. And you need to make sure you have that 45-degree angle to be sure that you're not going to shoot our friends over there on the mundane side. The other thing is to be really careful with pulling your arrows. You need to make sure that people stand far enough away that they're not being stabbed by someone who's actually pulling the arrow. Especially important with little kids. Little kids don't understand to stay away, and they're right at eye level at the arrow. So that's something to watch out for.
Another responsibility of a marshal is checking equipment. Keep in mind that the archer is ultimately responsible for their own safety and their own equipment. However, if an archer is unsure of their equipment, a marshal should make an attempt to identify unsafe conditions or violations of kingdom rules. Specifics on what types of bows are in the Marshal's Handbook. However, some things to look for that could be dangerous are cracked or splitting lamination on the bow, twisted limbs, frayed bowstrings, uneven flexing of limbs, bows giving odd noises while drawn or loosed, unusual brace height, arrows with broken nocks or otherwise compromised, and checking arrows and bolts for damage. When checking equipment, here are some examples of equipment that is damaged or potentially unsafe. Take a look at this cracked riser. This bow should not be shot. Here, there are some examples of twisted limbs. See how the string does not sit in line with the bow limb? Other issues include string grooves that are cracked or damaged. This bow shows the lamination coming apart. All things that should be checked by a marshal. Crossbows. Be advised that not all ranges allow crossbows, and some baronies may not allow them if there is not suitable backstops to stop the bolts. The following types of crossbows are not allowed. Any crossbow that has a built-in mechanism to bring the string and trigger into position. This includes repeating crossbows and break-cocking crossbows. Like compound bows, compound crossbows, and those with pistol grips are also not allowed. Unlike Olympic archery, which employs the use of whistles, SCA archery marshals use range commands to direct archers. The commands to be used are: the line is open, you may step forward and loose 6 arrows, or the line is open, you may loose at will. You may also say things like, no new archers to the line. When everyone is finished shooting, you should say, the line is closed, retrieve your arrows and score. If you see a hazard, a marshal may say hold. Any archer or marshal can call a hold, but only the marshal may reopen the line. A hold should also be called for any injury at the line. If you see the need to correct an archer, you may call out the archer, but as we say, give commands in a loud voice, but corrections in a soft voice.
Archers, the line is open. You may come forth and loose. Archers, the line is closed. You may now go forth to retrieve your arrows. Archers, the line is open. You may come forth and loose.
I do it all the time. I do it.
Okay, now, yeah.
Oh! Now, after a hold, the only person that is authorized to reopen the line is going to be the marshal in charge of the current archery event.
So what should the marshal be looking for while they are watching the line? Marshals should always watch downrange without getting distracted. Avoid talking to friends or being on your cell phone. All archers should straddle the line, and their arrows or bolts should be lined up. Arrows should only be nocked, and crossbows should only be spanned at the line pointed down range. Please be advised that most ranges ban spanning or nocking aiming at the sky. Marshals must also keep an eye on spectators, ensuring they stay outside of the safety zone. What else should marshals be looking for? Archers with bows that cannot be drawn or spanned safely. Are they struggling or shaking when they pull back the string? This might be an indication that the bow is too heavy for them to draw safely. Crossbowmen should avoid having the fingers in the way of their string. All participants should be in safe physical and mental condition, not intoxicated or impaired by medication, or tired. If you see a bow is misfiring more than once, the bow should be removed from the line. Archers who drop arrows past the firing line and reach to retrieve them. Retrieving arrows past the firing line can only be done when the line is closed. If you see someone lunge past the line to retrieve their arrow, call a hold. Youth archers should not be allowed at the line without adult supervision. Attention should also be given to archers who shoot across lane lines. So what are marshals looking for when they're looking downrange? When the line is open and there are archers at the line, you should call a hold if you see animals, people, or vehicles that might stray into the range area. Close the line if targets are compromised as well. When the line is closed, a marshal does not need to continue standing on the line, but marshals in the area should be aware if anyone comes to the line while archers are still downrange. Marshals may also verify scores upon request, and marshals may demonstrate how to pull arrows properly to avoid injury. There is no running allowed on the range. In the picture example, we show Captain Chang shooing cows off the range at Polaris War III.
Hi, I'm Christopher Ravenhill, Marshal for the Baronet of Twin Moons. Some of the things that I look for up here on the line is the first thing I usually look for is making sure that your feet are straddled over the line properly. and then I kind of glance and make sure that all your equipment is looking pretty good as well. And then as the archers are shooting, I'm basically watching to make sure that no arrows are dropped forward in front of the line or being picked up in front of the line. That will pretty much cause an immediate hold. And then looking for other safety issues, and also making sure that other people are staying behind the safety line and not crowding up the firing line. All right.
Hi, I'm Baron Johan, and everything that he said is absolutely what we're looking for, as well as maybe a stray dog or cat running across the range that we're going to call hold on anything that's unsafe out there on the range. And when archers are retrieving their arrows, making sure that no one's getting poked in the eye by the back of the arrow is also a good thing to be doing, as well as just making sure that everybody's back, not hiding behind a target out there before we open the range for more shooting.
Archery is a very safe sport for youth, and we encourage our youth to come out and shoot with us. There are some special considerations for marshals to be aware of. There are no age restrictions on youth, but the child must demonstrate safe handling of their bow. Youth archers should demonstrate basic understanding of the rules of the line. Youth archers should also know what hold means and what to do if it is called. Youth archers must be accompanied to the line by an adult until a marshal deems them safe enough to shoot unaccompanied. However, the responsible guardian of the youth must still stay in the range area. If there is more than one minor on the line, it is recommended to have an additional marshal focused on monitoring youth activities. When you have a new archer come to your practice, participants who are new to archery or just new to the range should check in with a marshal before participating. Marshals are not required to teach shooting technique, but should be able to identify generally unsafe practices. Marshals should also explain basic safety rules of the range, how the line works, and check equipment for safety.
Hi, so this is my first time shooting archery with Verity. What do I need to do?
Okay, so we have a few simple rules. When the marshal calls the line open, you may approach the line with your bows and your arrows. Please straddle the line, not sit behind it or on it. Any archer can call a hold. A hold is when an archer is doing something unsafe. That hold can be called by the marshal, an archer, and the hold is only lifted by the marshal in charge. When the line is closed, we will say the line is closed. Wait until you hear the command go forth and retrieve to go forth and retrieve your arrows. Please do not bring your bow when you go to retrieve your arrows.
Conflict resolution. All archers and spectators will follow the marshal's instructions. If someone does not follow the rules or acts unsafely, the marshal in charge may ask them to leave the range. Marshals should also politely talk to any non-SCA archers at shared ranges if there are any safety concerns. The marshal has the final say on what equipment can be used. If someone disagrees, they can appeal to the Kingdom Royal Archer or the Kingdom Earl Marshal. Marshals are not required to settle disagreements between archers unless unsafe behavior is involved. Any injuries should be reported using the online form within 24 hours. Injuries that need medical help should be reported by phone or text as soon as possible to the Kingdom Royal Archer and the Kingdom Earl Marshal. I hope this video has been helpful on your journey to becoming a target archery marshal. Marshaling can be very rewarding, and your act of service in keeping everyone safe is very appreciated. If you have questions or concerns, please reach out to the Kingdom Royal Archer. Thank you.